Hey my big beautiful BBs, it's Megan Tonjes, and today we're talking about friendships, more specifically losing friendships, and this video is part reaction video, part perspective. So about a year ago, I released a video called We're Not Friends Anymore, and in that video, I very emotionally react to and try to explain the recent loss of a friendship. I was as careful in this video as you possibly can be when you're talking about a very specific situation. Like, I was very careful to not use specific pronouns. I blacklisted possible names from my channel, and I did everything that I possibly could to share what was happening in the moment without causing some kind of controversy, which many people on this site would love to do. I was just hurting. And I've been holding on to all this pain for a few weeks. And I, at that time, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself to just feel it and to heal from it on my own. I haven't watched this video since I posted it. I do have a very clear memory of like the weeks before it and the weeks after it being very hard for me to talk about. And there was never really any resolution. So I figured I'd click into it today, skim around a little bit, and give you some of my thoughts on how sometimes things that hurt you in the moment are really good for you long term. So here we go. It's Megan Tonjes. I hope that you're having a lovely day. Do you ever get to the point where you're tired of crying about something? Because I'm there. So I recently had a friendship end. Oh my God, look at me. I can barely, like, you can tell by how tight my jaw is that I'm struggling to not cry. A lot of the ways that we feel about things and about people is conditional. Oh God, look at me trying to intellectualize too. I'm like, let me try to get a lesson out of it. But I hurt. And I've never really taken that to heart, that they're not super responsive. Because again, everyone is busy. Everyone is living their life. And I don't send any of that stuff waiting for feedback. I send that just as a, hey, I'm thinking about you, without like the pressure of like, that was true. I was very aware of this person's situation, and like, I didn't want a crowd. I remember that being I had a lot going on in my life, but I didn't want a crowd and I didn't want to stress anyone out. And so I was trying to play this dance of like, I'm here for you and I see you and I love you, but also I don't want to stress you out. They're not really responding to me and this, so I must have fucked up. So I reached out on top of I immediately was like, it must be my fault. I must have done something horribly wrong. I wasn't a good enough friend. I'm like tearing up thinking about it because I have such empathy for myself and how I instantly internalized that. And you see just like the brief moments of me trying to explain like, well, yeah, it wasn't equal, but I still was so focused on it's my problem. I felt so bad because I had a friend coming over, this poor, lovely friend of mine, who just like embraced me and held me and just let me cry and be upset about it and empathize with me because she had also gone through similar experiences, and I think just validated for me. I probably was just like, I'm surrounded by Capricorns and I just need to feel emotions with someone else that's emotional. And the next day I wrote out this really long kind of more in-depth response than just like, hey, I'm sad and I love you, which was basically, we've known each other for a long time. We've been a part of some really big important parts of our lives together. I would hate to think that I've done something or said something that hurt you enough that you can kind of see your life without me. So I would love to have an opportunity to. I was looking for something. I was looking for an answer. I was looking for some kind of reasoning. And I felt guilty for something that I hadn't done, but I was sure I had to have done to end that friendship. I didn't want to be. It was just that I know you're going through things and I wanted to give you space so that when you needed me, you knew I was there. I didn't want to add to, I get very anxious. That's exhausting. Putting myself out there and I'm being vulnerable and saying, hey, whatever this is, please let me fix it. Please let me. I was hurt that this person, with everything we've been through, didn't see me as being like worth working on it for. And now I feel, I'll get to it differently, but it's like, girl, you haven't really seen this person in a year, even with you reaching out. And I had watched other people that were super close kind of get, pushed out. And maybe there was always a part of me that thought, am I good enough to be here? Like, am I important enough to be here? And I was hurting in that video. You can hear it. You can see it. It's hard for me to watch stuff like that because I start crying. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm angry. I cry when it's a silent cry. It's a bad bitch cry. It's, a deep internal, like I'm sitting there and I'm fine, but tears are rolling down my face. I've been watching a lot of Seatbelt Psychic lately on Amazon, and that has been fucking me up. So I'm really good at the silent cry. I trust younger me enough to know that if I needed to say it and I needed to do it, I needed to say it and I needed to do it. And I wouldn't go back and change it because, there are so many things that have happened since that probably wouldn't have happened in the same way. But if that happened to me today, the reaction that I had would be very markedly different. If I got a text message today from someone that I had known a long time and they said to me, I think we're just in different places, and that was it, that was the last thing they were gonna say to me, I probably would have taken some time, maybe a few days. I would have just let that linger there for a bit. And when I responded, I would have said, you're right. We clearly are in different places, judging by you sending that text. And I wish you well and good luck. If I had still been wrapped up in that, or if I hadn't had that experience moving through that, I don't know that I would have met some of the people that I'm really close to right now. And now I'm starting to realize what more equal relationships and friendships are. Again, a process. And I can look back and say that I wasn't growing in that friendship. And if I wasn't growing, they weren't growing. And that's not fair to me. That's not fair to them. Also having compassion for myself. Like, it was okay to be upset in that situation. That sucked. The way that ended sucked. I respect that, how you see me and how I am, that's the truth to you. And so if I'm not a good influence, or if I'm a bad person, or if I am at a different place and you need people around you that are at the same place that can nurture that, then I understand why you wouldn't want to be friends with me. But that's the way that it had to be. That's the way that it was. Who knows how long that would have dragged on or what that would have turned into if it didn't end like that. So even though it hurt in the moment, and even though listen, there still is sometimes anxiety of like, what if we run into each other? Like, is it gonna be a thing? I have to stop myself in those moments and think, you're not even the same person that you were a year ago. I'm thankful for it, even though in the moment and watching that, it was hard. It's hard. I think I was a really good friend. Maybe I wasn't a good enough friend. I think both those things can exist within the same world. I can forgive them and I can forgive me, because both of us were just doing what we needed to do and what we thought we should do. And sorry, I'm just having a moment. Because I think what I'm realizing in this moment right now is that the apology I think that I was looking for was never going to come from that person. It's from me. I'm sorry that I kept myself in something that wasn't serving me and wasn't serving other people, regardless of how normal it felt and how much I wanted it to be what it had always been, or what at least it had always felt like it was. So I'm just realizing that, like, I think the things that I was waiting to hear, the things that I wanted to hear, I was never going to hear from that person. That's stuff that I need to hear from me. I'm very protective of my younger self. And younger self doesn't have to be like a year ago or 5 years ago. We can talk 3 months ago. I look at things and I'm like, I wish that I had been who I was now to better serve you, but I wouldn't be this person if I hadn't gone through it. So, wow. Yeah.